everybody, welcome back to the Pylon Show. This is episode number 108, and we are having... I don't know how to intro the show because every episode I'm excited about, genuinely, or I wouldn't do the show. So every episode I'm like, this is going to be a great show, and it's like the same thing every time, but the show is very different every time, and they're all great. God damn. Good job, Artosis. Listen, this is going to be a very fun episode because it's like kind of a crossover episode in a way. We're getting a little bit more creative with the Pylon Show and what we're going to be talking about, and I have some excellent guests here. First, though, let me just mention, check out our Patreon. Patreon.com/The Pylon Show. That is how we fund this show, and that's how you can ask questions. And you're going to want to ask questions this week, so check it out. Patreon.com/The Pylon Show. Yeah, okay, there you go. I guess that's our sponsors. You guys. All right, so this episode is about speedrunning, kind of in general, like an introduction to speedrunning for people, but then also Starcraft speedrunning, because that exists. And we have some world record holders here. In fact, all 3 world record holders. You may recognize this one guy right here, which I was just talking to him before we started. It's really weird that 108 episodes in, the like 20-time Australian champion. This is the first time he's on the show. I have Australians on the show all the time, but never Probe. I don't know why. I don't know why I do what I do, but Probe, welcome to the show. I guess.
Hello. Welcome. Hello. Yes. Thank you.
How
for
are you
having
doing?
Me. I'm doing wonderful.
Yeah.
Down here in Melbourne, Australia. I see that I'm actually in Sydney on the green screen. I'm very disappointed. So, I'm actually from Melbourne.
More than one city?
I take great offense to being put in Sydney. Okay.
No. I've been to Australia. That's what it looks like.
No. You've got it all wrong. That's where we send like uncool people. Okay. I'm from the hipster part. The lockdown part. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
You're from the part that Moonglade's from?
No. He's from a different part. A hotter part. Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
All right. Well, okay, sorry. Anyways, well, I'm glad that you're finally on the show. Welcome. It's going to be fun to have you here. You're kind of like a bridge between pro gaming and speedrunning, being a pro gamer and a speedrunner at this point. So kind of cool to have you with these guys. We also have a Giant Grant Games. Grant, welcome to the show. Can you tell people a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Sure. Thank you so much for having me on, Artosis. I am Giant Grant Games. You probably will recognize me from the guy with the clickbait thumbnails on YouTube that keeps trying to get you to watch his Deathless videos.
You're the Deathless video guy?
Yeah.
Oh,
wait, you didn't know that?
No, I didn't. No, I was looking through the speedrun thing, and I was like, whoa, this guy's fucking good. Like, look at this. I got to get this guy on the show. You're the Deathless guy.
Yeah.
There's been so many videos lately.
Yeah, basically. I kind of just shot up at the beginning of this summer, made some videos, and they're in everybody's feed now, and if people are really annoyed with me, I'm going to keep doing it.
That's excellent. Damn, I did. Wow. I just fall into lucky shit all the time. That's great. Okay. But you do have a world record in speedrunning, right?
Yes, I have the Nova Covert Ops world record, and then I'm 2nd place in Legacy of the Void and Heart of the Swarm Probe, and 3rd place in Wings of Liberty.
That is super sick. By the way, Probe, do you have a world record right now? Right?
Yes, I am 1st in Heart of the Swarm and 2nd in Wings of Liberty.
For now.
Sick.
1st in Legacy of the Void.
Excellent. And then we have Zosty, a very famous speedrunner himself. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, Zosty?
Sure. Yeah, I'm mostly known for Super Metroid speedrunning. I've done like 7 AGDQs. I've had the record in Super Metroid, many different categories, many different times. And I actually had the Starcraft 1 first Terran campaign record at some point until some actual RTS players came and swept it out from me. So, but, you know.
Oh, that's excellent. Well, I mean, I want to know how you guys got into speedrunning, and then maybe we can talk a little bit more deeply about exactly what speedrunning is and the way that it's talked about. Because, like, I watch Amazing Games Done Quick, and, you know, I tune into some speedrun streams from time to time. And the lingo can be a little bit difficult for people to understand, I guess. Let's do some of the lingo first. Like, what is speedrunning? You know, you hear things like any percent, 100%, low percent, you know, glitches, randomizers, things like this. And I don't even know what all of it means. And I've actually watched a decent amount. So can you guys just kind of explain what speedrunning is all about?
I can explain some of the lingo real quick. Any
Sure.
percent would be like getting as many items as you want to, but you're gonna try to. You only get the ones that make you go faster. That's what any percent is. You get any percent of the items, and this can change between different games. So I'm speaking more for Super Metroid, but that's a pretty common one across speed gaming. 100% is some sort of completionist category. It can be defined differently for different games. And low percent is getting the fewest amount of items. It's more of a challenge category. You get the fewest amount. I'd say those are the three biggest ones, but there can be a lot of extra ones depending on the game, or maybe they don't have all that. It just depends.
Yeah,
and
like for Starcraft, the majority of them are just like any percents. Like there are some like niche challenge ones, like the Deathless one or the No Unit one. Like some people have done speedruns of those categories, which is pretty nuts. But yeah, most of them are just any percent, so it's completing the game as quickly as you can, really. Yeah.
Okay, very cool. So can you guys explain how you got into speedrunning? Because it I don't know, it just seems a little like the thing is, I think speedrunning actually has existed for a very long time. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember when I first was getting on the internet, I was finding these cool websites where I remember this one guy, I think his ID was 2Gam, and he was doing like Zelda without a sword and stuff like really quickly. And I was like, what the hell am I even looking at here? But like, how did you find this kind of niche thing that's kind of like esports, but not exactly? Not, I don't know. I don't even know how to explain it because it's such a different thing than what I do all day. But Zosti, how did you get into speedrunning?
I first heard about speedrunning through a website called Speed Demos Archives, and they're the people who ended up doing GDQ. So that's where they started. They used to host speedruns on their website, and it was usually the best run of the game. But people had to submit them. That was back when there was like VHS and stuff. People would submit in stuff like that. But speedrun has been around a little longer than that. That was like mid 2000s when I heard about it, 2000 aughts. But I think it's existed since like early FPS, like Doom demos and stuff like that, and Quake demos, like where you can record the replay of it or whatever, and then you could host it on a message board or something like that back in the old days. I think that's where it kind of started.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. Yeah. So when you got into it, like you do a lot of Super Metroid, how do you choose something like what you want to play and whatnot?
That's just a personal thing, really. I mean, just whatever catches your eye, whatever you think looks fun, or maybe what you have nostalgia for. I didn't really play Super Metroid as a kid, but I saw a speedrun of it at the right time, and I thought it looked so cool. And I was like, I just started learning a little bit at a time, and one thing turned into another kind of thing.
Okay. And Grant, how did you get into speedrunning?
So I could, lie and say that it was like I was just inspired in the night or something like that. But for me, it was a fairly tactical business decision.
Okay.
It's going to be a rant, kind of. It'll take like a minute and a half, but I promise it'll come back to answer your question. But I
Pylon
think
show has gone up to 6 hours at a time before, so just do whatever you want.
So I think that one of the big challenges that StarCraft 2 currently faces is that there is a huge divide between the casual and competitive player bases. Historically, there's been a lack of a natural progression for the people that play campaign and co-op to get into competitive StarCraft. And I think it's we kind of expect people to just naturally make that jump. And for a lot of them, it just doesn't work. They don't know the language, they don't know the strategies, the nuances. And we just throw people into like procasts and say, hey, go watch this game, you'll enjoy it. And it gets confusing and overwhelming. So last June, I decided, around the time that my YouTube channel started blowing up, I decided that my focus would be on bridging that gap. My goal for creating speedrun content is that new players could hop into my stream, hop into my YouTube, and see a StarCraft experience that looks a lot like their own. But at the same time, it has a competitive twist to it, has high-level execution twist to it. And they would be able to, through that conduit, start learning about the competitive aspects of StarCraft And hopefully that would make their jump later into competitive StarCraft maybe a little bit easier. Because I freaking love StarCraft. It has been my life for 10 years now, and I really, really want it to continue to grow. And I really think there's very few people that are trying to focus on bringing the new people in. There's a ton of incredible people that are keeping the established people watching because they're very good at what they do. I kind of felt like that would be my niche, and StarCraft or speedrunning is part of that.
Oh, that's a very interesting kind of idea and approach to why you would start speedrunning, and it feels actually almost like the opposite of Probe's path, who's a pro gamer who now has started speedrunning. How did you get into that, Probe?
I think I was like depressed at some point, and I was like sleeping 12 hours a day, and I was just watching 8 like speedruns while I slept, and just like I was in bed 18 hours a day. For some I can't remember why. And I saw a StarCraft one, I'm like, oh, okay. And I hated StarCraft at the time as well. Like I did not like playing 1v1. So I'm like, okay, this will give me something to do. Some reason to start streaming it or something like this. And then I like watched it, I'm like, damn, this is really cool. It's like really cool strategies, and the execution is actually, I mean, it's pretty tough, honestly. It can actually be very, very tough to get as quick as possible. So from that like competitive nature of always like refining myself, I found it very it gave me a lot of satisfaction to improve over time. So that's like how I got into it. And then I like felt a lot better because I achieved something with my life, you know. And then like moved on to Heart of the Swarm and all that other kind of stuff. So yeah.
Huh. All right. Kind of interesting, guys, all getting into it in completely different ways for completely different reasons. I guess that's the story of esports for a lot of people as well. How do you? Okay, so that's how you guys got in, and we kind of talked about the lingo a little bit. But I want to talk about how to approach speedrunning if you want to get into this and get good at it, because it seems really hard to get into. Because like for instance, I have watched a decent amount of your Super Metroid stuff at this point, Zosi, like just watching you grind through where it's like Samus is jumping like this, and then you get to the end and bam, restart, jump, restart. And I'm like, how long does he do this for? This is crazy. So, how do you approach just like practicing for a speedrun in general, Zosi? How do you do this?
It depends on kind of what stage you are in that particular run. Like if you're just getting into a run again or for the first time, I think practice pays off a lot more. It's like I like to compare it to learning piano or something. It can be daunting at first to see somebody sight read a piece of music, but you got to start somewhere with Mary Had a Little Lamb or whatever. You know, you have to start and just keep refining and building on something. You got to trust that if you roll that, you know, the boulder up the hill, each inch is going to get you towards the top of the hill or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So,
It's
actually, yeah, go ahead.
It's actually very, very similar to getting into 1v1 for StarCraft. Where you watch these pro gamers, they're doing all these crazy things. You're like, I'm never going to get there. I can never do this kind of stuff. And you sort of, that's so long ago that I got involved. I kind of remember how I got involved in 1v1 and whatnot. So to give advice onto speedrunning, it's very tough for me because I already did that. But you just sort of chuck yourself in and have fun, do whatever you can, try and just finish a run, reset as much as you like, just get a score up on the board a time.
Okay.
Okay, just do something. And that's a huge accomplishment. And then you can just slowly work that down. And you have to enjoy what you do as well. But just with that initial process, that's like really most important, I think.
Okay. So you start with like completing the game. Like if I were to sit down on StarCraft or Super Metroid, like I would just beat it and be like, okay, it took me 3 hours, like, you know, and be like, okay, well, let me look up the world records. Okay, I quit. No, I'm never going to. I am never going to be able to do.
And you just look at each mission, and it's for StarCraft, it's very separate. They're all split. You can practice a section very easily.
Yeah.
And slowly just get better at each one. Learn a few of the strats as you go. So that's like the main thing.
I think one of the best things about I'm so sorry. One of the best things about speedrunning is that plagiarism is incredibly okay. So you can just steal what everybody else does, right? That you don't have to, when you're getting into speedrunning, figure out how to speedrun. You just have to go watch Probe's YouTube video on how he has a good Wings of Liberty run, open up a Google Doc, write a couple things down, and give it your best approximation. Probe is absolutely correct that doing anything is the best way to do it. I bet we all had absolutely abysmal times in our first times ever speedrunning stuff. And we all have world records here. And it's just like when you drop into 1v1, you're probably going to be Bronze League if you've never played an RTS before. That doesn't mean you're never going to be GM.
Yeah.
Well, statistically speaking, but
oh, you're
I don't know. I checked the Starcraft Reddit. There's plenty of people that are just getting GM now. So eventually, watching some of these speedrun things, right? Like for instance, the resets that you do, Zosia, in it. It feels like I'm just watching like very deliberate practice, where it almost like is a bit inspiring, because I think within Starcraft, a lot of people like to get better. They just keep playing ladder games. And it's really hard to take all the different information from, you're playing on the ladder against many different opponents on many different maps in many different matchups, having many different games. And it's hard to kind of bring that all to one point and learn from it. But then when I watch people practicing for speedruns and I see you reset 30 times in a row in the same fucking room trying to jump over this same little bat thing over the lava or something like that, right? That's like, oh, this is such a smarter way to practice in a way.
Yeah. It'd be like practicing a build over and over again, or like looking into a build order, like would be something like trying to figure out a better strategy for a room, or figuring out a better way to like rally your units, would be similar to like figuring out a better way to control your game in a certain area of the game. I mean, I feel like there's a lot of, you have to be introspective and figure out what you're doing wrong, and kind of slow down and look at it. And if you don't do that, you'll just keep making the same mistakes over and over again, I feel, in speedrunning, at least.
For sure. Well, I think that this actually just kind of broadens out into, like, in the really big picture, everything in life, but like in the smaller, we're on the Pylon show picture, Starcraft play, where it's been making me think, because I read a lot about things like deliberate practice, but it's hard to apply that, right, when you're playing on ladder and things like that. But then when I see all these resets, like, guys, when you're doing like a Starcraft mission, you're trying to get your time down on it. Are you playing a very small portion of the mission? Are you doing the whole mission each time? Like, how do you pull that apart? Like, do you have the same type of way to save and reset, like in Super Metroid, where you can just like go bam, okay, back here, bam, back here, that type of thing, or is it different?
I know in StarCraft 1 you should be able to load a save from the single player. If you have the like a part of the mission that's really hard that you want to practice over and over again, you can set up a state for that.
Actually, yeah, you definitely can do that in StarCraft 1. I don't really play StarCraft 2 single player.
You can.
Yeah.
But yeah, it has the same type of thing that you can just load real quick. Is that how you approach it as well? Or like, are you doing a piece of the mission that you jump back to save?
Because, for example, some missions are like 2 minutes long, so you just do the entire thing.
Sure.
Some are multi-section missions, so you don't want to, especially when you're practicing, you don't want to do the entire thing. Like, there's like the mission in Legacy of the Void where you're, some of the heroes for like the first 4 minutes, then the next 4 minutes another set of heroes, another 4 minutes. And so you reset at the start of each one of those to, push down all the times. And if there is like a specific point, you can do a quick save and practice that. But I think like most missions, if you want to practice individual missions, they're pretty short and easily resettable. And StarCraft isn't that refined to the point where you need to be perfect. So you have a bit more variation there to just practice the entire thing.
Okay.
Yeah, part of it is that in StarCraft, the longer missions tend to be the ones that you can skip in practice, because often, I mean, things cascade a lot in StarCraft, right? Even in 1v1, your opening is the most important part and changes a lot. It's your speed of build-up based off of that. In a speed run, because you're only going for like a couple minutes, I would say that the large majority of things are just that initial 30 seconds in a mission. I don't know if Pro would agree with that, but most missions, you really can hit that 30 seconds, and then if you want to do that execution for the end, you can get it. But for the most part, you can try that over and over again.
Dude, Legacy of the Void, it's literally the first 30 seconds, warp in 4 DTs, and then you send them to each corner of the map. And then once you've done that, you're like, okay, I'm good.
I hate that speedrun, man.
Yeah.
I don't know why you're doing it. It's so dumb.
Oh, it hurts my brain. It's the worst. It's the hardest. But
could you you explain? I'm really not sure what you're talking about here.
Okay. So Wings of Liberty is a good speedrun. You know, lots of variation in units and strategies that you use. Heart of the Swarm. Kerrigan does everything. She is overpowered. Okay, so very linear in that sense. Legs of the Void doesn't have Kerrigan, but you have DTs. So a shittier, more easily killable unit is doing all the missions. So it's way more fragile, whereas in Heart of the Swarm you have Kerrigan, she can heal, she has a lot more HP. DTs, you know, they're like glass, right? So it's so easy to lose missions, and it's just like sending out 4 DTs to each corner of the map to do all the objectives at once. If that makes sense.
Oh. So you're just using invisible men to win every map in Legacy of the Void.
Dude, the Starcraft campaign is not well designed to deal with detection. like the final mission of Heart of the Swarm, you just run in there, you kill a turret, and Kerrigan just burrows and just pops up, pew, burrows, pops up, pew, burrows, pew, and then the last mission's dead. A 25-minute mission is done in 2 minutes because they were missing a missile turret.
Oh my god, that's crazy. Okay, well, I don't think that they designed these. They didn't design these with speedrunning in mind. No. I guess no game really would it? All right. What? This is actually something that you brought up in our like pre-chat, Zosti, that I wanted to hit upon. Parallels between RTS and speedrunning. Could you elaborate on this a little bit?
I already went into it a little bit with like the practice aspect. I think, I think resetting rallies in StarCraft 1 really reminds me of something that you could do on your own, and it could really benefit you in a match. So stuff like that, I would say is similar to practice. But if you get into like tournament play where you're racing speedruns, like when you're in early stages of a tournament and your seed's high and another seed's low, you might want to take a different route. You know, a safer route through the game. And that could
like
be
not try to do
like,
a jump that could like hurt you or something or send you way back.
Something risky. Yeah, you could avoid something risky to get you killed or something like that. I could think of that sort of like a parallel to if like Light was doing a qualifier, he probably wouldn't want a 14cc or something like that.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
So stuff like that. And you get into like randomizers and whether it's like randomness to where everything is, it's sort of similar to you can like mind game your opponent to where if they're predictable in the way they route a randomizer, like somebody that's not as good could do a riskier route, which like it wouldn't be as consistent. But if they got really lucky and found an item that was really important, then it could pay off and they could beat somebody better than them. Those are some of the parallels I was thinking of. The practice one was big. I know for StarCraft 1, mechanics is huge, and I know for my game, even though it's a console game, it's like the way you control it is pretty intense. So you really need to focus a lot on that if you want to get really good. Of course, you can be as casual as you want to in speedrun. You can participate, you can race with people. You don't have to like go for the world record. Yeah, that's kind of one thing. Sorry. I was gonna say that's one of the things I was thinking about earlier when Giant Grant Games was talking. Is like you can do community races and stuff, and you can beat people way better than you because a lot of times, like in my game, I'll die in some of my races, and so people, you know, you'll beat half the people because half the people will die.
Yeah. So just playing carefully might be the turtle in the hare type thing.
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah, that's funny. Okay. Yeah. Would you guys agree with that about the aspects that kind of make it similar, like strategically speaking, how you approach things, or is StarCraft more like not like competitive speedrunning? I don't know how to word this correctly. Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
Because
Yeah.
StarCraft, like you don't normally go up against somebody at the same time, right? It's not like a tournament speedrun. It's more like you sit down and you try to do it. Am I right?
Yeah.
I'm
Just
ignorant
grab
on
one
speedruns,
thing.
guys, so I'm actually asking these questions. I'm not trying to lead you.
Grant can say anything he wants.
I'm trying to think of what exactly
Okay.
was the question. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, like the idea of first off, the little piece would be: is StarCraft something that's done like competitively for speedruns? Like, are there tournament style StarCraft speedruns like we were just talking about with Super Metroid, or is it more like you're always going to cut the time as best as possible?
Well, the StarCraft speedrunning scene is really me and Probe.
No, there's
Okay.
There's ZPR.
wait. There's ZPR, there's
ZPR.
Freezard, there's Bloody. There's quite a few people. There is a Discord for this, by the way.
Oh yeah, I should join that.
There's quite a few. But yes, it's more the latter. So for example, the Wings of Liberty
Mhm.
one, when I decided to pick it up, the time was like 1:56 or something like this. Set by ZPR, something like this. So, okay, I went and beat that. And then he beat it back a couple of days later. Then I beat it again. And he beat it again. And we went
Yeah.
back and forth across a month. And we got down to like 1:37 or something like this. In-game time, something like this. So yeah, it was more like we just keep cutting it down, competing against each other for the world record until eventually we like get to a point. It got to a point where I'm like, man, to beat this guy's run, either something has to be discovered new, or I just need to get the perfect run. And so I'm like, okay, time to move to Heart of the Swarm. So yeah, it's definitely more the latter where you're just cutting down on times. The size of the StarCraft speedrunning scene is definitely not big enough to have tournaments.
Sure.
But it would be great if more people got involved, more people did it. I don't think you should be scared. Anybody should be scared mechanically about it. I think actually mechanically it's quite straightforward. Like you won't pick it up straight away or anything like this, or you might be slower than myself picking it up, right? Because I had that programming experience. But you can always still get to the exact same point where I'm at, just with practice. So it'd be great if more people played.
That's actually kind of interesting. How good do you guys think you have to be to challenge for like a speed run within StarCraft 2? Because
You just have to have
you guys all
dedication.
strike me as players that could be very good. Like just for instance, Zosi, I know you don't play StarCraft 2, but like just watching you, the way that you practice Metroid and the complexity of the jumps and stuff, I'm like, oh, he could be a very good, a good player. Grant, I'm not sure how good you are. Obviously, you're a pro gamer, but how good do you actually have to be to do these StarCraft speedruns? Like, do you need a certain, like, what's the amount of APM that's kind of like, okay, you need to have this much APM to play to have a chance at the world record?
So I think the answer depends on what you consider being able to do the speedrun, because if you look at the list of scores on speedrun.com, some of them are pretty bad, and you could definitely beat those people. If you wanted to, say, get into top 3, you probably got to be Grandmaster, because I'm pretty sure, I don't know how good ZPR is, but
Masters.
yeah, so at least Masters, probably Grandmaster.
Okay.
But that's simply because the competition is there. But say you want to get top 10 in Wings of Liberty, probably low masters or even diamond, assuming you're willing to sit down and practice it a ton. You would definitely be able to make it work.
I think you could be diamond and get it.
I don't actually know how good a diamond player is.
Diamond players they're pretty reasonable.
Okay.
As I learned from chat roulette. I mean, whatever that was called. I can't remember. Rank
Good video,
roulette,
by
that's
the
what
way.
it was.
Yeah.
That's- anyways, no, they're pretty all right. Okay. The speedrunning scene in general, it's like it feels like it's an esport in a way. Like the thing is, amazing games done quick. Those types of situations, when those come on, everyone's watching. It's just like it's super exciting. Everyone comes together. It's like it. Some aspects of it can feel competitive. Sometimes you'll watch and it'll be one of those tournament type things, or before people playing the same game at the same time. You see someone fall in a pit and it's really sad or whatever. But then there's also ones where everyone's just excited to sit down and watch. Like, okay, this guy's the best at this. Let's see if he can get a world record right now. So there's definitely esports aspects to it, but it's not exactly, but it almost feels like it is, because all these are like basically pro gamer level players for their games, but maybe it's not a head-to-head game. So yeah, I'd like to just kind of discuss that. I guess I don't have an exact question about it, but I mean, Grant, you were mentioning before the show, like, how can speedrunning learn from esports, and maybe even vice versa in a way?
Yeah, that was really, I didn't have like an answer when I asked that question. I was
Yeah.
legitimately asking. I was not, I mean, you are the expert here on the development of esports, and you've seen the worst things happen and the best things happen. And speedrunning really, I said this in the pre-chat, it feels a lot like esports did in the non-Korean scene 10 years ago, where nobody knew what was going on, but everyone was pretty sure there was something there. And there was like this rush to, how do you monetize this? What do you do with it? Speedrunning is a little bit different though, right? Because you can't, the tournament structure for something like Starcraft is very obvious. We've been doing it for literally thousands of years. This is just what you do. But speedrunning kind of works more under the festival structure, if that makes sense, where everyone gets together and has a party, and there's a lot of speedrunning goes there. So what do we do in the future? Because you can't just have, like, you can have an esports event every weekend. For some games, that's very sustainable. But for something like speedrunning, you can't have a festival every weekend. People will get tired of it. What are the other ways that speedrunning could be done to bring exposure, bring views? Because the views are there. We know the views are there. We see AGDQ. Look at the money that frickin' thing brings in every single time it happens.
Yeah.
It feels like a very big untapped potential, and I have no answers, but I'd be interested in hearing other people's.
That's an interesting question. Go ahead, Zosi.
There have been, I think there's been people trying to do stuff that you're kind of talking about. Like, I don't know how many people are familiar with the speed gaming channels, but it's like a series of like 5 or 6 channels that's constantly hosting tournaments and races. They've been trying to do a live event every year where they have like prize pools and stuff. It's nothing huge, nothing on the level of, any of the RTSs or anything, but you're starting to see events like that pop up here and there. Nothing's like gotten huge or anything yet, but people are trying to do stuff like that where it's more like an esports feel to it.
When you actually do one of the speedrunning events, Zosti, is it like does it feel like Grant said, like more like a festival? Are the tournament portions of it taken like really seriously as a tournament? Like, what's your vibe on that?
Well, like GDQ doesn't really have tournaments. It'll have like a big race, but there's never like a tournament or anything. But the races, I mean, people practice really hard for their runs. Any run, even if it's not a race. But yeah, the races can be very. I get really nervous before doing one of those because there's like 150,000 viewers. So like,
Yeah.
even the first one I did, there was 40,000, and I was like so every time I get super nervous. And yeah, the races are very nerve-wracking for sure. But any run there is really.
Yeah,
But it is kind of like a
definitely.
big party, like you said. Like people are hanging out and chilling together. I guess that's the same with any sort of thing. But
Honestly, now that you bring up the festival feel and like the chilling about it, that actually makes me kind of think, right? Because the question, I guess, was originally posed as like, what can uh, these speedrun things learn from esports? But honestly, like you can look at it the other way too. When when StarCraft Remastered first came out, and we were doing those, there was a few events that we did where it was like myself and Controlled, Day 9, and Tasteless, and those were more festival feels, right? Where like, yeah, there was a tournament going on, but no one really cared about the tournament that much. It was more about having fun and enjoying the game. And it almost in a way felt more like the speedrunning atmosphere that you'll see at some of these games done quick things. And I mean, they did very well, right? And it was kind of refreshing to not just have like the best players in the world are fighting it out for this, like, you know, and it's like $100,000 on the line. I mean, that stuff's great too. I love esports. Obviously, I've based my life around it, but it's almost more refreshing to have it the other way, where it's like, okay, this is cool.
Yeah, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
In speedrunning, there's kind of a weird thing too, that where in the past there's been sort of a resistance to monetizing it from the player base. That's kind of changed over the years as people have become successful Twitch streamers and stuff. The attitudes change, but that may have held it back a little bit for a while. Sort of an interesting aspect of it. It kind of almost was taboo to monetize your stream. Speedrunning, like for a while, it was kind of like that.
That kind of reminds me of FGC a little bit. Remember when I don't know if you guys paid attention. They're like, we're not esports. It's like, guys, your top players would like to make money doing this. Seriously, trust me.
It actually definitely has a more FGC feel about it, I think. And the big thing with that is they have people who play the game. Like they just get people involved. Everyone comes together, regardless of how good or bad you are. You just sign up, you just play and do all this kind of stuff. So if you want to do anything like that with Starcraft, you just need more people to actually want to do the speedruns, get involved and all this kind of stuff. Like there's plenty of games out there being speedrun, but there's not like competitive tournaments for every game out there. It's the ones that are popular with the active players who I guess got involved and then the system was built around them. Who enjoy those benefits. So for me, the first bit is more people just have to get involved in Starcraft speedrunning.
Actually, does Starcraft show up very often at those? Because I only caught it, I think, one time at a Games Done Quick type event where, if I recall correctly, it was like Railkun that was doing a speedrun. And I mean, I don't watch like when Games Done Quick is on, I don't watch it like the entire time. So I'm sure I could have missed it, but does StarCraft appear often at those?
I think Brood War was this year or last year.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
So there's a big problem in the large events with StarCraft 2 speedrunning, and I think one of the reasons that my videos have been fairly popular is because I edit this part down. Those damn 30-minute defense missions that are at the end of every, like, it is the most anticlimactic ending to anything when you just sit around for 30 minutes doing nothing. You already know what your time is, but you have to pretend like you're surprised and you don't know in order to make the audience feel it. And it takes, was it 30 minutes and 8 seconds every single time? And you're just like, okay. And then the only one that isn't like that, which is Heart of the Swarm, as Pro was saying earlier, you cheese it. There is not a good dramatic conclusion to StarCraft speedrunning. At least StarCraft 2 speedrunning.
I don't mind the cheese one, but
no,
yeah,
I agree. That's the best one.
Every campaign has missions that you can't speed up. So Wings of Liberty, there is one. The third mission, you can go AFK for 20 minutes. You can't lose the mission, but you can't speed it up. Okay, so and then the very last mission is also 30 minutes. And then there's a mission in the middle, the train mission, where you have to actually be there and do stuff, but it's also on rails. And the only way you can speed it up is by putting it to a higher difficulty so the trains spawn faster. And that cuts down like 5 minutes or something like this.
Oh, wow, okay.
So that's how we did that to get around that stupid thing, right? But yeah, there you go, Wings of Liberty. An hour of the run is auto-scrolling.
Probe, I just wanted you to know that I appreciated your on-rails pun for the train mission.
Yeah, thank you. I'm glad you know.
I really like it.
Yeah.
That's funny, though. Well, the timed missions, then, are you saying that I can tie for the world record on those?
You could get the world record on those, yes.
Damn, all right. I'm a world record holder as well.
That's every single campaign. So if you want to go to any of those GDQ events, well, you got to fill for an hour, 30 minutes.
I don't think there's a single StarCraft campaign that doesn't have one of those. Is there? I don't remember the StarCraft 1 campaigns as well, but I think that literally every single
I think they all have. I think they all probably have one. They probably Blizzard, when they make these games, they're like, you know what's really fun? trying to stay alive.
I mean, thematically, they're pretty good. I don't mind them thematically. Like the Legacy of the Void one, where the Zerg is swarming the planet, and then you can choose to go for longer if you want. That's a cool mission, I think. But it's also just piss easy, and you just have to sit there for 10 minutes.
Well, when you're... Oh, sorry. When you're terrible, some of these can be fun. Like, I remember the first time I played the Stay Alive for 20 minutes one at the beginning of Brood War for Terran. I had like a floating burning building at the end. And I was like, whoa, the dropships are here. I made it. And then when I replayed it, once I became a good player, I just attack moved and killed the Zerg on the map and sat there for 20 minutes. What were you saying, Grant?
Oh, I was going to ask, Probe, I don't watch too many. I mean, I skip through your speedruns, but I always skip the timed parts because I want to do your strats.
Yeah.
And do you, when you're streaming them, do you get really weird during the really long ones? Because I always end up talking about something really weird, like aerosol cheese or something.
I know. In my one, I was like trying to curse the mission, you know. So I'll say something really dumb. So this run will be the one where I get the world record, you know, and then it'll be forever enshrined. So I made some joke where I'm like, I bet you if you guys watch this back, I'm such an incel and all this kind of stuff. Like I said dumb shit like this, and I gave a whole like background story, and completely joking, but like now it's forever enshrined. Oh, that's right. It's because my YouTube channel has 0% female viewership. It's 100% male viewership. So I was like, no woman will ever love me. And that's forever enshrined in my Heart of the Swarm video because of those hold the line missions. So well, curse them.
I'll share my 1% female viewership with you.
Oh, thank you.
Between StarCraft 1 and StarCraft 2, which one's more popular for speedrunning?
I would say 2, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, like StarCraft 1, the first Terran mission for vanilla has quite a few runs. But you look at the Brood War missions, and there's like the 5th and 6th like campaign have like 1 run.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You could get the world record, Artie.
Making me want to get to make me want to do that. Damn. Get the Artosis name all over there.
You could.
And I can put that in my Twitter profile, world record speedrun holder for StarCraft 1. Hey, maybe, maybe.
That's the reason I got the world record for the first campaign, is because when I picked it up, I looked at it and the existing run was really bad. And I was like, I could beat this. So I you know, and then I attracted other people who were a lot better than me. So they would go over there, but yeah, you know, I had fun with it.
I think specifically Wings of Liberty is the most played of all the speedruns. In fact, I would be as far to say Wings of Liberty is probably played more than all other StarCraft speedruns combined. That might be a little much, but everybody seems to run Wings.
In the past, it was definitely like that, but it actually has bled over to the other ones now. So, yeah.
I do have to say, so I beat Wings of Liberty single player, and I beat Heart of the Swarm single player, and I haven't gotten through Legacy yet. I'm not a big single player guy for StarCraft 2, but I did think that Wings of Liberty was the most fun one. I definitely liked it better than walking around with Kerrigan, like I'm a League of Legends player or some shit. I'm like, no, I liked Wings a bit more. Maybe that has
Legacy is good though. Legacy is really awesome. I really like Legacy of the Void.
I'm gonna beat it one day. I think for the 20th year anniversary of StarCraft 2, I'm gonna finish Legacy of the Void.
Didn't we just have the 10-year anniversary?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Actually, you know those new achievements they added? The 10-year anniversary achievements.
Oh, did they? Oh, yeah, no, I saw that. Yeah, that's right, because you can unlock...
A lot of them are based off the speedruns. So you would have to go up and look speedrun strats to get them.
Oh, that's sick.
So
that's actually like Blizzard with a big nod towards speedruns.
Yeah. So I think they actually put in a lot of work, and I know Monk is in the Discord, the speedrunning Discord, and sometimes talks to us.
Okay.
But yeah, so a lot of them are based off the speedruns, and if they're not, they're like some other stuff. But yeah, it's really cool. And actually, one of them discovered a new strategy in Wings of Liberty, which I will use at some point, and it like cuts it down by like a minute. So there you go.
What's the strat?
It was the one where the achievement was bugged. So it was impossible to get the achievement until somebody on Reddit found a perfect run to get it, and it was faster than the speedrun run. So, and it was abusing like timers and whatnot. So it's actually like really, really awesome. Yeah.
Cool. Zosi, in our pre-game chat, you mentioned untapped potential for StarCraft 1 speedrunning. Is that because not a lot of people are playing, or is there some other reason?
That's the main reason. I mean, if not many people are playing, then the strategies aren't developed. So there's a lot of stuff you could probably find out about the run. I don't know all the details, but it's just a sort of it's got to be obvious if one person's only done the run that there's a lot of untapped potential there for people to improve it. When I picked it up, one interesting thing was if I remember correctly, I think it was Firebat Hero who did some sort of casual speedrun of the first Terran campaign. So I actually picked up some strats from him, which was kind of interesting.
Oh, really?
Okay. Yeah, if I remember correctly, it was Firebat Hero, but I could be wrong about that.
It probably was. He actually makes a lot of different YouTube content. He's very creative in that way. Kind of fits. What is actually the official like website for this stuff? People want to check this out.
For like leaderboards?
Yeah, like if I want a world record in some weird mission within StarCraft 1, where do I actually go to check on this and like have it confirmed or whatever?
As far as I know, speedrun.com is a place for the leaderboards for StarCraft. They just got bought out by another company, so I don't know how that's going to work out in the long term. But for now, that's where you go probably.
Okay, and that's where you guys kind of base all your numbers off of.
Yeah, who's got the best times and stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
And you could like just look at existing runs and see what strategies there are, and you could play with it yourself and see if you can find better ways to do things, or just play it better, do the strategies better. Either way.
Yeah. Now, so like it's speedrunning. I find it to be. We've kind of talked about how it relates to esports and like how it's more of a festival feel and stuff. Do you guys see speedrunning games in general, and of course StarCraft as well, to be like a good content for like streaming and YouTube and stuff? Because it seems to me that anyone that's good at speedrunning gets a really decent amount of viewership on like Twitch and everything.
I feel like it varies wildly depending on the game.
Yeah,
there's people that are really good at some games, but they just don't get the attention. I think it's a really good streaming game. I know my game is like Super Metroid is a good streaming game because there's lots of little breaks. Like when you pick up an item, there's like 7 seconds where the fanfare plays and you're stuck still, and like every time you go through the door, there's 3 seconds. It's good to it's good for streaming because you can check on the chat, give yourself a little break. It doesn't wear out your hands crazy. Like the last times I've tried to play ladder StarCraft 1, it's just destroyed my right hand.
Of course,
I'm getting a little older, so but there's so much variation in the way you play the game I play that it's good that I can do it for a long period of time. There's these breaks where I can re-chat and respond to people and stuff like that. But it varies wildly on the game whether it's going to be popular or not, and your personality, how you set up your stream, if you have webcam, mic, all that kind of stuff plays a part, of course.
It's funny that you have it nailed down so much. Like, oh yeah, I open a door and so I have 3 seconds to check the chat. And high quality streamer right there. What were you gonna say, Grant?
I think the two most important things, if you want to know if a thing's going to be popular, is one, having sweet tricks, right? That's the big one that gets you like the 5-second clip on YouTube that people are like, wow, that game is awesome. And B, nostalgia. Speedrun hits nostalgia hard. You can go back and see all of your favorite games from when you were a kid being absolutely demolished. And it's always a joy. I've never met a person that had a game they liked when they were like 8 that they hold a fond memory from that didn't see a speedrun and like have their mind blown.
Yeah.
And that's so powerful.
Yeah. It's the one type of link I will send my brother. Like, you see this? Like, he made Mario go like this while he went over a wall backwards. I don't even understand.
Yeah, the best for me is when somebody that really loves the game but hasn't seen this, like somebody's played a lot, but they're watching the speedrun for the first time. They're really excited. That's one of the best reactions that I like to see from somebody watching the run.
Yeah. Um, for speedrunning, like, how do you decide if you want to do like I don't know what it would be called, but like clean runs versus like glitch runs and things? Because there's it seems to me that there's like a range on that. But like for instance, I was watching some Breath of the Wild speedruns like a month ago, and the guy did something called like shield clipping to go through the side of a temple to save seconds so that he wouldn't have to activate the shrine or whatever. And I'm like,
Mm.
this is insanity. And then of course you can find the other ones where people will actually just enter. And I'm like, okay, that's the game I know and play. It's like this other one is just I don't. How do you decide which one to approach? Because it seems almost like there's some art to it where you get to decide your own way, but yeah, how do you do that?
It depends on the community and the game, of course. Like what they decide is kosher or not, and you can split it up where everything's allowed, and then there's a one way where glitches are generally not allowed, and one of them can be more popular in some games, one of them can be more popular in other games. I think A Link to the Past is a good example, because if you allow every glitch, they beat the game in like 2 minutes. Yeah, but it's not popular at all. Like it's almost a joke run because there's nothing to it. You just like go through the wall and then you go to the cutscene at the end and it's over.
Yeah,
So
like Pokemon Red is like that
so
as well.
stupid.
Yeah, Super Metroid's sort of similar. Like if you allow all the glitches, you can get done in 12 minutes. But it's just not as popular because it's short.
Anybody can do that.
It's not. It's sort of. I don't know. It's more just exploiting the programming instead of like actually playing the game well in some ways. But it depends. Like you look at like old school Mega Man games, and the ones where you zip through like parts of the level or go out of bounds and skip pieces of the level. Those are the most popular and most competitive runs of that game. So it just depends, kind of.
Okay.
Yeah, you sort of the community decides what feels dirty and what feels clean.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, this is a fair bug to abuse or glitch to abuse. I don't want to do this annoying thing. I'll just use this glitch to skip that. Or if something completely defeats the point of the game, you're just like, I mean, I don't want to even run this. It's not fun. I'll do something that's fun and enjoyable.
It can be kind of arbitrary at some point. Yeah.
Oh, totally.
Yeah. It
like
seems quite arbitrary, but I get it.
Yeah,
it's like,
I like
what's fun?
Pokemon example, Pokemon Red or whatever, where there's like a warp run, so you can beat the game in like a minute or something like this. But that's the most boring run ever, right? Like anybody can do that. It's cool to see, so there's a category for it. But you run the longer version, it's much more enjoyable seeing actual interaction with the game. That's what you want to do, right? You want to interact with the game, and slight cut downs is good. Yeah.
I can see a parallel with StarCraft 1 in this too, because you look at something like muta clumping is allowed, but then that stuff where you can clump isn't there a bug that's where you clump workers, and so you wouldn't want people to sending their workers in competitive play towards each other immediately in every game. Like you gotta I can see a parallel there with that. That's almost arbitrary what's allowed glitch wise or not in that game, But
there are a few banned glitches in StarCraft 1 that you actually can do within the game. So, but yeah, and then you, like you said, the muta stacking, it's like, well, without that, the game is actually sucky. It's like you have to be able to do that.
Right.
Okay, that makes sense. It's almost like the fans, the interaction, like you said, Probe, where it's like they want to see you play the game and you can use bugs and stuff, but like, don't make it stupid. The fact that you can beat Zelda in 2 minutes by walking into the credits scene or something. That's like a fun like video to post on Twitter, right? No one wants that. No one's going to sit down and watch you do that and get it down to 1 minute 58 seconds. It's like it's so stupid.
I will say a interesting counter argument to that is Super Mario 64, where the 0 and 1 star runs, which that entire thing is like a buggy mess. Every single time that Mario moves, it is just insane, because I don't think he's ever gone forward in his entire life. But, so, and those are very, very popular. If you look on speedrun.com, there's like hundreds and hundreds of submitted runs of people getting increments of a second off of it. So I think part of it is not necessarily how dumb it is, but how skill intensive it is, if that makes sense. So if you can do something dumb, but it requires you to be really, really good and precise, then there's more of a niche for it, because there's always going to be a group of people who are really interested in perfecting that high level, high precision trick. But if it's like the Pokemon one, I believe the Pokemon one is you just memorize a set of inputs to walk around the main town, and then you walk into your rival's door, and then you're done. And it's like, well, that's just literally just pressing buttons in an order, which is not, I mean, it's the same exact thing as high precision tricks if you want to be really pedantic, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. How do people even find these glitches, by the way?
Accident on purpose.
Dark web.
Yeah, all kinds of ways. Yeah, some people stumble into them, and some people like actually really dissect it. People that are like programmers and stuff. It depends.
Have you ever found some crazy glitch like within Metroid or anything like that?
I've found a couple of warps. They were using a so you're not supposed to be able to equip all your beams at once. There's one that like switches between two beams, and if you equip all of them at the same time, you can do some things where you can break the game pretty bad. And I found some warps with that exploit that were actually used in one of like the task runs, which is the tool assisted speedrun. Yeah, I found some stuff, but most of my strategies have been like Super Metroid's more geared towards the non-glitchy side for the most part. I found some ways to do some glitches, but you know.
How did you find those? I'm kind of interested in this because it doesn't. Some of the glitches that I've seen, like I saw some stupid Mario Kart glitch where I don't even know what the hell they shot a shell or something, then shot way off the screen and everything was black, and then they came back and won, and I was like, how does someone find this? Like, what are you doing with your controller that you can find something like this?
Okay, so with Super Metroid, when you shoot that glitch beam, it automatically creates out of bound blocks. You can't see it with the camera, but the game is actually, it's not what it seems. And there's like door transitions that appear and it shuffles blocks around. So you can load it up in an emulator and use, what's it called? A sort of a viewer to see like what's going on with the game. It like puts a layer that shows you what every block is. So even though the camera doesn't show you can see it, then you can like you can experiment that way and then say, oh, I want to hit this block to trigger go into the next door. And you can try to find a way to get over there, or you know, just keep experimenting that way.
Okay.
But
So
for that
you
example,
kinda-
that's how I did that.
Yeah, that makes sense. When you do something, Grant, like the deathless runs, that's not like technically a speed run, right? Is that just something that you come up with that you're like, oh, this is an interesting idea to do it with?
So I live a life that is very much so at the whim of my stream chat.
Okay.
So especially
That's no way to live, Grant. You gotta fight
I actually
back.
have a really cool stream chat for the most part. I've been very
Oh.
blessed, but I was like a 5-person streamer back at the time, and we were just kind of messing around and talking about stuff. And someone's like, I wonder if you can beat this mission without losing unit. And I was like, I'm bored. Why not? Let's try. And then I did it, and they were like, well, let's try beating the whole thing. And we did. So I don't think it's a category, but I think it should be, because then I, by default, have the world record.
ZPR did a run in the Deathless one or the no units one. I can't remember which one he did it in, but it might have been the no units one. And he
did no
has
units.
the world record. Yeah, he has the world record there. It's like 3 hours or something. It's
I think I technically have the world record for playing all the campaigns at once at the same time. I did that a couple weeks ago.
What?
I figured out how to open multiple instances of StarCraft 2 at the same time. So about 3 weeks ago, I did a stream where I played through Wings of Liberty, Heart of the Swarm, and Legacy of the Void at the same time. And it's the hardest thing I've ever done in my life.
That sounds insane.
It was actually really fun. It was 6 hours nonstop of playing.
6 hours? You might as well just run them back to back then.
Well, I also did the prologue and epilogue.
Oh, okay, that's fine then, yeah.
It was 5 hours without those.
Okay, fair enough.
Oh my god. That's like, so are you like alt tabbing between 3 monitors or within the 3 games, or?
So there's a problem with StarCraft in that you can't actually make the window below a certain size. And if you have a 1920 by 1080 monitor, it is more than half the size of a screen. So I had on my main monitor them kind of overlapping each other in windowed mode. Then on my second monitor, I had a third game and all my stream stuff at the same time and a lot of neck pain.
Yeah. Okay. That's wild. I don't know how you guys come up with this stuff.
I said I managed to open it, and then someone in my stream chat was like, "You should do this." So I said it as a sub goal.
See, the way I did that recently as well, where I played 2 games of Starcraft Ladder at the same time. But
You played 2 games of Starcraft Ladder at the same time?
yes.
Were you playing yourself? Are you an abuser? What's going on?
No. I hit like 5.5k Terrans, one on NA, one on Korea. And I got crushed. It was not easy. It's honestly so tough. But the way I had to do it was this program like Mouse Without Borders or something like this, which is a great pun. But it allows you to connect your mouse and keyboard to 4 different PCs on a network. So I plugged my laptop in to my second monitor, and I could just use my mouse and scroll over. And it was like really, really easy and really cool. And I was going back and forth and playing. So tough.
That would be tough.
Yeah.
Especially if you're on like different maps and stuff, like 2 different matchups.
It was both Protoss vs. Terran, luckily, but it was Death Aura and Eternal Empire, and it was not easy.
No. Oh my god.
So then I just went into a 2v2 with myself on as both people.
How'd that go?
I won that one. I cannon rushed and proxy gated at the same time.
The Haas special.
Yeah.
Well, can't you just give control of everything in 2 vs 2 to yourself so you could actually do it all on one screen?
But then money is awkward, you know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So 1 cannon rushes, 1 proxy 4 gates. You've got best of both worlds.
All right. These are some very weird things you guys have come up with. What is like the future for each of you guys within speedrunning? Like, do you, for instance, Zosi, do you just keep working down Super Metroid times? Are there other games that you're interested in doing or that you're looking at? Like, oh, maybe I'll give this a try.
Yeah, it's hard to get away from Super Metroid because I'm so well known for it, and and it's sort of like the time, like the sunk cost sort of thing, where I've spent so much time getting good at it that I want to like max out what I can accomplish with it. I'm considering doing other games, and I like doing music myself, so
cool.
I kind of want to do more of that in the future. But for gaming, yeah. I'll probably be doing Super Metroid for a while still, but after that, I'm really not sure. I kind of have to take it one step at a time sometimes, focus on what I'm doing.
Yeah, makes sense. What about you, Grant? Like, do you have other goals? Well, it sounds like you're kind of rotating through different weird ways to beat the campaigns, but like, is there a certain goal? Are you looking at different games at all? What do you think?
So I've thought about different games. I like speedrunning. I think it's a lot of fun, but at the same time, I really, really like StarCraft. But I can't sit on the StarCraft campaign forever, which is kind of a problem I'm having right now. You see why people that stream ladder for the most part, because you can do that literally forever. But I feel like I offer something special right now. So I need to continue to figure out how I can provide something cool to the StarCraft community that is unique, but also doesn't suck.
That is important. Yeah. Well, okay. It's a little bit broad, but I'll let you have that one.
I will be doing StarCraft 1 speedrunning though.
Yeah, no, you should. That's cool.
On Friday I'm going to get Heart of the Swarm back from Probe.
Oh,
Good
nice.
I'll need it.
I kind of do want to try the some StarCraft 1 ones. I'm going to check that speedrun.com and see what those records look like if I can beat one. Because it's one of those things I feel like, well, it's like, yeah, I got the world record, and then you can just always be like, I mean, I'm a former world record holder. I don't really do it anymore. You know what I mean? Where it's like, yeah, you're a gold medalist. The 1984 Olympics? Please, you're slow now. Right? I kind of just want that like in my back pocket. Like, yeah, no, I've held world records. It wasn't that hard. I mean, but I'm letting you guys in on my secret ultimate plan.
We're gonna slide in and get them before you get the records. You know?
Oh, leave one for me! Don't make me work hard for this. What about you, Pro? Where you, because I mean, you kind of have like your pro gaming career. It feels like you haven't been competing as much. When I read This Week in Starcraft and stuff, I see a lot of names.
I mean, I did win the last Oceania qualifier, so
yeah, just showing up when it's the most important stuff, I guess.
When it's important. But what, my region is next week, so that's what my practice time is going into. I'm not doing any speedrunning at the moment. And then I'm also doing like YouTube stuff, so like challenge videos and whatnot. So like 2 games at once. I did play Starcraft while blindfolded. That was a fun one.
How did that go?
Watch the video. There we go. That's good.
Damn, you're gonna get one more view because of that. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, like doing all that stuff. So speedrunning is sort of this thing I do like on the side, kind of. But
do you have any goals or anything? Like if Grant takes your Heart of the Swarm one this Friday, are you gonna fight back for it?
Eventually, yeah. No, the first thing is to get Legacy of the Void, which honestly, the run for Legacy of the Void is so well refined and so tough that I don't know how long that's going to take me. But in December, I'll have time because I have like exams next month and pro gaming and all this kind of stuff. So I'll get to that in probably December, and then I'll go back, get the Wings of Liberty one, get the Heart of the Swarm one. Then I'll do them all, and I'll be cool and I'll be chilling. So that's the plan.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
I actually have a really bad secret about why I went to Nova Covert Ops for my world record. It's because I knew you would take them in order, and I did Legacy of the Void, and I was like, oh, he's going to take forever on this one. So I can actually keep my world record for more than 2 days this time.
Oh, that makes sense. All right. Oh, God. It's someone in the chat saying, do Grey Goo any %? I would never finish that game in any timeline of the universe. Okay. I mean, I don't really have any other questions about this. Do you guys have anything else you want to bring up about speedrunning before we do Patreon questions?
I'm good.
I feel like I had something, but it's gone. Yeah.
That's all right. If it comes up, you can let it in.
If you like playing StarCraft, but you get ladder anxiety, a really good way to practice is speedrunning, because you get to keep it to yourself. You get to, if you are the type of person that likes to ladder, but gets frustrated because they play a PvT and then they have a strategy and then they don't play another PvT 15 games in a row and that pisses you off, speedrunning's really good for you. There's a whole lot of things that you can continually improve your other gameplay with while speedrunning, and it's a lot less stressful. So it's definitely worth giving a shot in that sort of way. I know a lot of people suffer with ladder anxiety and that kind of stuff, and this could be a good outlet for that.
It actually, and talking with you guys about it here today and just kind of thinking about it, like I mentioned before, it really seems like there's a lot that StarCraft players can learn from the speedrunning community. Like you said, practicing something, keeping it to yourself. Because really, improvement in StarCraft, people think it's about beating people. It's about getting better yourself. The actual outcome of a given game doesn't actually matter. If someone beats you, it's like, whatever. It's like, yeah, you're never going to beat Maru. Like, you're not going to beat Maru. It's okay. But if you're improving, that's where the victory is, which is kind of like, I always see when I tune into a speedrun thing, it's like, are you going for a PR? Or are you going for WR, right? Personal record versus world record. And it's like, just to improve your personal record you have to improve your personal record before you can even challenge a world record, right? So it makes sense. It's definitely something I think people can learn from really a lot. Like, it really, I'm not just saying this because we're on the Pylon show and I have you guys here, but it really gets me thinking about like trying to get these deliberate practice type things and measuring against yourself, because that's how you get good, right?
Yeah.
That being said, do you use anything Probe as a pro gamer that you learned from
I've actually
speedrunning?
become worse at pro gaming because I started using the F2 key in my speedruns. And so now I can't shake the habit. It's actually so bad. Yeah.
I'm sorry to hear that, but to be fair, there's a lot of top pro gamers that still use F2. It disgusts me, but it's a real thing.
Well, I don't like using it, so there we go.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. So I've hurt myself for the speedrunning glory.
All right. Well, it is glory. Okay. Well, this has been a great conversation. I'm actually really kind of interested in this now. Maybe I'll, not in StarCraft 2, I'm not going to challenge you guys, but the Brood War.
Actually, I
might.
would just say there is individual missions you can do. Like, you don't have to do the entire campaign. You can just have the speedrun for an individual mission.
Yeah.
There's leaderboards for that as well. So, you can take a 5-minute long mission and just practice the hell out of that and get the world record for that.
Sounds like a good
Especially
idea.
any of the like lesser run campaigns, you can easily get a record there in StarCraft.
Sick.
And then I'll steal it and implement it.
That's fine, man. As long as I have it, even for a second, that's a big moment. All right. That was a great conversation. I think we'll probably jump into the Patreon questions now, guys. Make sure that you drop in some Patreon questions for these guys because, yeah, I mean, a lot of people ask their questions ahead of time, but these are some people that you can, I don't know, ask your questions about that and check out patreon.com/the Pylon Show and drop your question there. They're still open for a couple more minutes here. But let's jump into it. Ayamura asks, the new Tempest upgrade has introduced a severe balance injustice for Zerg. Now Terran and Protoss can shoot Dorito dust at their enemies, yet Zerg are unfairly being neglected. Microbial Shroud become more orange. Does caustic spray need an upgrade to become Dorito flavored? We need ideas. So see, I know you're more of a StarCraft 1 fan, but there's like some weird, like orangey looking spells now in StarCraft 2 that everyone just calls Dorito dust because it's like such a bright orange, and I just don't. I do have to say, yeah. Do you like the orange colors, Probe?
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah?
Looks awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it looks really weird when the Tempest switches from shooting air to shooting ground. It's like blue
Yeah,
shot, orange shot, blue shot, orange shot. It's like
I wish it would change its like internal model. Then it would be much more consistent. Like,
oh, you mean like
it charges up a blue thing, right? But then shoots out an orange one. So like if it charged up an orange thing and shot out an orange one, that would be cool.
Unplayable until that's
completely
fixed. Unplayable. Ayamura, thank you for the memes. Not really a question though. Zaubergarden asks, okay, get ready for another piece of Zaubergarden wisdom. Here's what StarCraft 2 needs. Imagine somebody rage quitting a lost game. Then pops up a little message for them. Hey there, fellow. We noticed you didn't type GG there. You doing fine? At the same time, the victor reads, he didn't mean it. Mic drop. All right, well.
Is that Clippy? Like from Microsoft Word?
It would be appropriate. The again, not really a question, but thank you, Zaubergarden, for your. I will get pretty pissed if when I don't say GG, it's like, hey, you should say GG. Like, I'm angry enough already. Let's not go there.
Just reminding you, mate. You forgot to say GG that last game.
If it was good, I would have said it. I'm not a fucking liar like everyone wants me to be. Right. Sauce King asks. Well, I wonder if this one will be a question. I don't know. We'll see. To me, there are more players with a chance to win GSL each season, especially this season, than in comparison to ESL Pro Tour. In EU and NA, there are very clearly 1 to 2 players that are far above the rest, which really lowers the entertainment value for me despite the giant format. Is it just me? Thoughts?
That sounds reasonable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Cyril and Raynor win every tournament in Europe, right?
Oh, I mean, Clem is coming up though now. I think Europe is definitely becoming more interesting.
Yeah.
Especially as some more Protoss people come up. And Void Ray users. So I think Europe's good. NA, yeah, maybe. You have to enjoy the tussle between the people who probably aren't going to win it.
Yeah. I don't mind having some people that are up at the top for the smaller regions, because the smaller a region gets, the more likely that is to occur, I guess, right? Like you look at Taiwan, it's like us and nice every time, right?
Mhm.
Like it's always going to be one of them. And then you look at NA, it's like, yeah, we're down to Neeb, Scarlet, Future, Estrella, I guess, is like one of them will always win. I guess it is smaller than GSL.
Yeah, totally.
GSL, we have a little bit more volatility with that.
Though I
don't know
will
if that makes
disagree
sense.
with one thing that he had to say. He said that there's any number of people that can win GSL this season, just stats. 100% stats.
He scared me last night a little bit, I have to say.
He just got your heart racing. He's going to keep on doing it.
It's like, oh, here's my bad strats, Artosis. Let me open with those and then win with my regular ones.
First game of the day never counts.
Yeah, there you go. 100%. I'm on board with that. All right. Thank you, Sauce King. I still enjoy watching Rainer and Cyril play. Codiferous87 asks, at Probe, what was your favorite cooking stream? Either your own or someone else's?
Oh, that's tough. So every Thursday I do cooking streams. Probably doing one later today. Last week's stream where we cooked pizza was very enjoyable, and made you guys very angry. So I'm gonna
Why did you say it like this, pizza?
Well, I'm allergic to cheese or milk and whatnot, so it was a cheeseless pizza.
Okay.
And 70% of my community feel that if pizza doesn't have cheese, it's not a pizza. So I now have to refer to it as pizza every time I reference it. Yeah.
I can kind of see that. Like, cheese is a pretty inseparable part of the pizza.
I don't think so. I think it's the tomato sauce and the base. That's the pizza.
No, because tomato sauce and bread is just spaghetti that hasn't been cut. You know? You just haven't noodled it.
Yeah, but you don't put spaghetti in the oven.
Yeah, that's true. You don't put spaghetti in the oven. True. Okay, you got me there. I'm like thinking about it. Okay. So, was that your favorite cooking stream? The
I think so, just because it made so many people angry and furious. Yeah.
That's the way to measure it. He also has a question. At Zost, where did you learn to work on houses? What started your passion for making music?
To work on houses? Is that what they said?
Yeah.
You
work on houses?
Well, I used to be an electrician. I thought they were going to ask me an electrician question for a second. What was the second part about music? I'm sorry.
Yeah, what started your passion for making music?
For making music. I used to be a band nerd back in the day. Played trumpet, and that really started my love of music. I picked up guitar after that. I don't know. I think old video games really started my passion for music. Because like your old NES games and stuff had such great tunes. Like you had to have a little bit of imagination because of the way they were produced. You know, like they were primitive sound output, but like the actual content of the compositions are really great. So I think that did a number on my brain when I was a little kid. Sure. So I think that's where it originates from, my love of music.
Okay. And what about working on houses?
I was a union electrician, so we really didn't do many houses. We did mostly commercial and industrial. So I don't know.
Okay. And Codiferous says, thanks for coming on, guys. This was a really cool episode. I love the diversity of the show. Big shout out to the TPS crew. Thank you, Codiferous. Yeah, it's a very fun episode. It's just, that caught me off guard. I'm like, do you work on houses too? Damn, you do a lot of things, don't you? All right. Thank you, Codiferous, for the questions. Evo asks, a question I thought of listening to last week's map episode. Would 4-player maps be more valid if the spawns were random, but they let you know which location your opponent was in? Would this make maps that are rotationally symmetric maps more playable while still adding variety to the map's playstyle? Yeah, I guess that would make it a bit more playable because you wouldn't be scouting someone last and then just dying to their cheese. So yeah. It would.
It's essentially a 2-player map.
Yes.
Just it has different configurations. And that's a suggestion that's often put forward, and one that I like because I'm sad that there aren't 4-player maps or like these bigger different maps. They're all somewhat similar now. I wish there was 3-player maps and 4-player maps. And if to get that through, you need to show exactly where people spawn. I'm like, yeah, sure, do that. But obviously, people will still complain like there is still imbalances there for Protoss versus Terran. You're dropping straight into the natural base, something like this. It can still be tough.
Yeah.
One thing about 4-player maps is that whenever, especially if you're telling people the spawns, you're just making multiple maps at the same time. It seems like it'd be much easier from a balance perspective to just have it be the 2-player map and make it bigger if you want the big macro map.
Mm.
Because different spawns completely change the paradigm of how everything goes. And you're always going to have some terrain feature that is not fair on one spawn for one matchup and is completely fine in the other one. And then if you change it, you might mess something up on the other direction. That it seems like it's a lot of work for very little payoff in StarCraft 2.
Yeah. I think that's probably a big part of why they don't do something like that. They tried on a few maps where it was actually 2 maps, like Waypoint was one of them, where you would spawn somewhere and you know your opponent is cross spawns. And it was like 2 different maps that were in one map, so it was like, but it just got vetoed to hell. Like no one wanted to play.
That was
it.
also one of the worst maps ever.
It's the worst map ever made.
There's also that weird map that was like on the high ground in the middle and it went down to a natural and then you had 2 ramps. It's like, that's not going to be balanced on a normal 2-player map anyway. So they put on this weird 4-player. It's like, whatever. It's not going to work out. I think you could still achieve things with 4-player maps. But yes, you are right. You essentially have 8 maps in the pool.
Mm-hmm.
What we need is less square maps. Remember how we used to have like maps that were rectangles instead of just squares? Like remember Shakura's Plateau, and that map was way wider than it was tall. And we seem to make everything squares nowadays, and I'm not entirely sure why.
Map?
Wasn't there a triangle map?
We did have one circular map.
Which one?
What was it? Merry-go-round?
Oh, I want that 3-player map back. Let's go.
I'm down for different.
I just hate 2-player maps. It's so boring.
That's one thing I really like about Brood War is we actually have a lot of different maps that are very, very different. But yeah, and they fuck with balance a little bit, but you just kind of do it because we're never going to.
We don't want Flash to win again.
Yeah, exactly. Huh. An interesting question, Evo. Thanks for asking. Oh, my favorite. Ass Rash asks. Hello, my sweet boys. Do people in the speedrunning scene look forward to new titles they think will be good for runs? Will you try to speedrun Cyberpunk 2077, for example? What characteristics do you look for in new games that make you think, I want to speedrun that? Your friend, Ass Rash asks. So, why don't you start us on this one?
I think for me, like interesting movement mechanics would be one of the number one things I'd look for. If the game's too simple to control, I don't think I would be interested in it personally.
Okay. And so, yeah, the control mechanics. But do people in the scene in general, guys, look at new titles and think, oh, that's something I'll be interested in speedrunning? Like, is that something that, because I think whenever any game that has versus mode comes out, people in the esports scene are like, ooh, that can be an esport. But does that transfer over where it's like, oh, a new Mario game's coming out, that looks really good for speedruns?
I mean, if it's a big title game, you're definitely going to see people speedrun, or like a remake, like a Final Fantasy VII remake would be, people were on that like really quick.
Oh, yeah.
But it just depends. Yeah, I mean, I'm more of an old school gamer personally, so I don't really personally look for new games that much. But there are definitely people that do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I tend to think that speedrun is more about expertise, right? It's a super high level stuff that you do that makes it cool. And often that comes out the best with aged games. And when you get a new game, there's some new games like when Breath of the Wild came out, everyone went, oh yeah, this is going to be a speed game because it's so open to stuff. But a lot of games, especially nowadays, are very linear and railroaded, for one. They don't have a whole lot of interesting movement tech because they want to be realistic or whatever. And also, you just haven't had 10 years to understand the nitty-gritties of everything, the details. So those things combined kind of make them exciting for some people, but for a lot of people, not as much.
All right. Makes sense. Thank you, Ass Rash asks. One of our good question askers on here. All right. Raven Thon asks, when can we expect to see maps to start rolling in from the massive editor update from a few months ago with the additional levels of high ground? So if I can actually take that because I talked to the Blizzard guys about this a little bit. You can in multiplayer, I believe you can only use. It's a very limited amount of high ground. Even though in the editor for like UMS, you can go up to like
15.
what was it like? Yeah, 15 levels of high ground. I think in single player, there's 3 or 4. It's something like that. It's
Well,
5 or
3
less.
currently. So.
Oh, it's 3 currently. Okay, yeah. It was. I knew
So
it was
has
like
to
a
be
much
bigger.
smaller number.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, otherwise, you're not getting any new maps. Yeah, so maybe 4, maybe 5.
Yeah. So I'm not sure that we're gonna see too much with that. I think that a lot of those editor updates were for like custom maps, custom map playing, use map settings, whatever it's called. Thanks for the question, Raven Thumb. Polly asks, how much time do you invest preparing before attempting a speedrun? Do you discover the whole game or just find the shortest road from the get-go? For StarCraft specifically, do you try to learn from pros to control the units faster, or not necessary for your goal?
I can say that for Wings of Liberty, for example, there's missions that I've never done because you can skip them. So, like the Ariel Hansen missions, I don't know what happens there. I can't speedrun them. I don't know what happens, like how to do that faster. So, yeah, I just watched the world record at the time, his route, and I copied that route, and did that. So that's the kind of preparation getting into it. And then I just attempted each mission step by step. But yeah.
Okay.
I think that as a streamer, you might as well just go into it almost blind. You know, just get very, very vague preparations because people like having that baseline to then compare you to later, if that makes sense. And people like seeing you fail. That's just part of Twitch.
That's for sure.
So when you are someone who is known to the community as like the guy that does really cool stuff, and then you just run your face into a brick wall, they're like, huh, that's funny. So it's worth doing. I think that a little bit of preparation and then get the hands-on experience, that's the most important part. So just do it.
One thing
Okay.
I like to do is I like to not look at some of the better runs sometimes, or like not look at other people's runs when I start like a specific run. So I have a fresh like outlook on what's possible. I don't get like some preconception about what you should be doing here, here, and here. Sometimes I think that helps me find new ways to do things as well.
That makes a lot of sense, actually. I like that. I like that approach. I've done that sometimes in a different way, like with casting. Like if I'm going to cast a new game, I play it a lot before I start looking at what experts are saying, just to kind of get my own spin on it. Makes sense. How much time do you generally invest in prepping before, like, let's say you're going to go do Games Done Quick, Zosti? Like, how much time do you put in
Oh,
prepping for the speedrun?
I mean, I'm pretty well known as a dirty practicer, so like some of the first GQs that I did, I would be in the practice room for 6, 8 hours a day, like just practicing my heart out. And for like once you get into the marathon, you have like 6 months to practice. You'll just be doing that whatever you're supposed to be doing, like constantly. You'll be doing runs and practice. Everybody has their own like sort of balance of run and how many runs you do, how much practice you do. I think a good middle ground's good. So you can really dissect things, but then you like get to like execute it in a full run context to sort of cement it in your brain, like how it flows and everything.
Okay. Very cool. Polly, thanks for the good question. Walk Like a Human asks, when watching Flash go random in ASL, I noticed there was a lot of Koreans typing in the YouTube live chat. Why do so many Koreans watch the English stream on YouTube instead of the Korean stream on AfreecaTv? Can AfreecaTV improve as a streaming platform to draw more people in? And if so, in what ways? Okay, so I guess I don't know if the Korean stream goes out on YouTube as well. I've just never checked. But it might just be people that are watching. Some people prefer certain platforms, right? But Africa TV is doing quite well as a streaming platform, especially in Korea. It's got a lot of viewers and is growing out here. So I think they're doing all right. Yeah, it could just be people that don't have a good connection. Like there's Koreans living all over the world, so they might just use the YouTube because in some countries, AfreecaTV.com doesn't work as well. It doesn't have like
I can't
great
watch
server
Africa
coverage.
very well. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah. I think that's why they have it on everything on YouTube as well, so that you have an option to watch if they don't have good streaming servers in your country or whatever. That's my guess. No one ever told me this, but I'm kind of in the know. Yes.
And excuse me if I'm wrong, but young Koreans also just tend to be pretty good at English, right?
Yeah,
Comparatively
yeah.
So
Everyone learns English over here now. It's just like it's class in school, and everyone kind of goes to after school academies for it and stuff. It's very much a big thing here now. Cool. Thank you for the question. Walk like a human. Optional player asks, some of my favorite speedruns are RE4 and Ocarina of Time. Seeing how the game can be broken down / exploited is a real treat. Do you feel exploits in RTS speedruns are different than that of FPS / platformers? I find in those games, levels are layered and there's a lot to exploit and explore.
unfortunately, Blizzard is too good at their job, and StarCraft 2 is very robust. Like,
Hard to find
there's
any.
pretty much no real glitches, and a big issue is they patch, and that actually affects campaign runs. In the past, some of those things
Really?
aren't really achievable. Yeah.
Oh, I
I
didn't
think
know
some
that.
of the I think some of the past StarCraft one campaign runs, you could land the barracks like, or you could land the CC like right next to the minerals. You could where you're not supposed to land it. I think that was one of the early patches.
Uh-huh. Yeah. I I guess, yeah, you guys don't have anything crazy. Like, there's no level jump type situation or Mario jumping backwards,
No.
glitching out, or yeah,
there's like
nothing like that.
dialogue skipping, and that's the best you can get, where you jump over a trigger and you save like 3 seconds from some stupid dialogue telling you how to burrow a roach, and that's about it.
Actually, you just made me think of something. I was like, I know that speedrunners sometimes change the
Yeah.
language. Do you guys do that?
Yeah,
Portuguese.
Wings of Liberty Portuguese.
Really? That's so funny.
Yeah, Zeratul in Portuguese, he just goes through his lines like a machine gun. Yeah.
That's crazy. I
It
never.
takes like 30 seconds.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, so now you play the game in Portuguese. Excellent.
It doesn't work in the other runs though, and I don't know why.
Really?
I tried it, and Portuguese was slower in Heart of the Swarm. So
Yeah, there's different languages for each one. There has been some discussion, but I can't remember the results. But yeah.
Wow. Okay. Something you don't think of very often. Okay, thanks, optional player. Good question. Sate0 asks, what is this episode? Hell yes. What a guest lineup. Zost, I never would have guessed. Talk Artosis into learning SM any %. I think that Golden tutorial is still on YouTube and is extra easy peasy. You can get this golden god of a gamer to cut the hour. Love you all, Sate0, aka Iora on SRL. Okay. That was more of a statement of love towards you, but excellent.
There, that reminds me of one thing I was thinking of earlier. There are a lot of resources for learning a lot of speedruns these days. It was not so much the case like 10 years ago or so, but nowadays there's tutorials, there's videos, there's Wikipedias, and all kinds of stuff if you want to get into anything.
Grant's videos are very good for stock.
I like your videos too.
Thank you.
Oh, this is just a love fest here.
Well, I steal his strategies, so I gotta be.
Zost, you since you own a bunch of the world records in Super Metroid, do you make videos about how to do it, or do other people make videos based on what you did? Or like is that how that works?
I have made tutorial. It's been a while since I've done one. I've done a couple of them. But yeah, usually when people do tutorials, they'll go over like this person's strat. It's like a collection of so many people's work at this point. Like any given speedrun world record has like hundreds of people's ideas and strategies and stuff.
Oh,
But
that's
yeah,
cool.
you know.
Excellent. All right. Sate0, I'm glad that you enjoy this. Thanks for the statement of love towards Zosty. Neosteel Enthusiast asks, I just want to use this question to say thanks for the NA guests. God, it was so refreshing to have the same old type of episode again. Just one request. One player didn't even complain about the maps. It was actually a disgusting episode. He kept saying the map pool is balanced, so I don't even want to hear it. Thank you, Neosteel Enthusiast. Someone gave us a big thank you for having an EU episode. Every now and then, we're trying to get a bunch of EU people on because it's a terrible time zone for them. So we'll switch it around a bit. And it's a meme. It's a meme. Thank you, Neosteel Enthusiast. Much appreciated. Saft Scissors asks, what could Blizzard learn from the speed running community to make non-versus, like co-op and campaign game modes competitive for the public? Do you think this would be beneficial or harm the community in the long term?
It would destroy the community instantly. How dare there be competition? No, more views on Starcraft, more cool stuff to do. We play 1v1 here.
What could they learn here? Maybe getting rid of the missions where you're just supposed to stay alive?
So they've actually done that in a couple of times. There's a mission
really?
in Wings of Liberty called The Dig, and The Dig is a 30-some minute time defense mission. However, there are a couple absurdly difficult Protoss bases that you're not expected to be able to kill, and they never tell you that if you kill all the Protoss bases, the mission ends. But you can just do it. And it's actually one of the most skill-intensive missions in the speedrun, I think, because it's just pure, good, fundamental RTS, 2-base bio play against Mass Storm, Colossus, Photon Cannon, all the Protoss bullshit at the same time. And it really feels like, oh, I'm speedrunning StarCraft right here. It's really good. It's really cool. Just do more of that.
That one sounds cool, actually. That's neat. All right. I like that idea of having a way to skip through that part, because that actually would make that almost more exciting, because you have a 30-minute time limit. So it's can you do it in that time? All right. Thanks, Saft Scissors. Good idea. Shampoo McTavish asks, now that Flash has showed that he can conquer Brood War as random, who is the most likely player to succeed as random in StarCraft 2? Would it be harder or easier to do well as random in StarCraft 2 compared to Brood War, and why?
Well, we don't have a Flash in StarCraft 2, so
that is true.
Yeah.
Who would be a good random player? I think Scarlet would be possible a good one.
As well.
Yeah,
I know Reyna's Protoss and Mars very high.
I know Scarlet's Protoss was super, super high.
Yeah, I'm not sure about her Terran though.
Yeah.
I don't know that Flash has completely done that, has he? I mean, his PvP for Snow were great, but
yeah. Well, I mean, it's kind of funny because people are almost overselling it in a way. Honestly, I think he has a decent chance to win ASL with his random. Really, the thing is, I don't think it'll be repeatable. I think he's gonna get this run in, and it's he's gonna show a lot of strategies that work one time, and then it's well, maybe it's time to go to the military, Flash. I don't know.
It's really sad because I think there's so much to talk about when you just it's almost like adding a third race to the game, right? Or sorry, a fourth race to the game. And there's so much different theory craft. I've been thinking about this ever since he won. Okay. I really, and I don't have my thoughts formulated, but what do you even do? There's so much you could prepare. How do you play? I actually really thought that Snow played really, I love that he went Nexus first, because I think that's the kind of stuff that you actually have to do in the mashup. And
yeah,
I don't even sorry, I'm so sorry. I have so many things and they're unformulated thoughts, and I don't know enough about Brood War, and I really wish I did, because it's so interesting and so cool, and it's never going to happen again. So all this theory will never actually apply.
Well, that's kind of the interesting thing, right? Because he'll set a metagame. And I think you're right, what Snow did with just Nexus first, blindly against random, that type of thing, that's such a high-level, crazy move that Flash even said in his interview. He's oh, I feel like I got sucker punched there. And it doesn't translate to ladder at all. The players on the ladder that go random, they'll cheese a lot of the time. And it's if you went for a command center first, you're probably dead. and that's it. But like at that level, it's like this mind game upon mind game upon mind game. It's very interesting. Would it be easier to do well as random in StarCraft 2 compared to Brood War, and why?
I think it'd be harder because in StarCraft 1, if you were just mechanically sound, you can get so much further. Whereas it's in StarCraft 2, it's so easy to get one up on your opponent. And when you're playing 9 matchups at a time, you're going to be weaker to those types of things, if that makes sense, because they're also weird and specific. Like, I don't think you would ever beat TY as a random player because he would be way too smart at knowing the things that your main race is not used to defending. He would figure out a build for every matchup, and he would just absolutely crush you with intelligent play. And you just can't, and when you have Flash's mechanics, you have Flash's macro and all that stuff, it doesn't quite matter as much in Brood War because just having a lot of stuff is one of the best skills in Brood War. That doesn't transfer as well.
Makes sense. And also 2-player maps, you get scouted right away in StarCraft 2. So it's like a little bit easier in that regard. And starting with more workers, you can actually scout earlier and adjust your build more quickly. So yeah, I think it would be a lot harder to do in StarCraft 2. I agree. All right. Thank you, Shampoo McTavish. Refrigerator asks, are there people around that design new StarCraft puzzles or levels that speedruns can be done of? Also, I'm assuming speedrunning isn't always a purely solo endeavor, in which case would you guys try speedrunning the 2-player or 3-player version of the StarCraft campaigns? How do you think that would go? Is there 2-player or 3-player versions of StarCraft campaigns?
They're fan-made mods, and they're actually very hard. I don't think anything like that currently exists, and it would really... let's be honest, if anyone were to do something dumb like that, it'd be me. So I decided to answer the question. I think that it really... I'll probably end up doing it at some point. I guess that's the answer.
Okay.
But people have to be interested in it. And right now, there's no interest in anything like that.
I think there's actually so many cool custom campaigns that if they got pushed onto the general public, I think they would take it up quite readily. I think they're very, very enjoyable.
Thank you, Refrigerator. I learned something here. Oblivious asks, I wonder who has the fastest StarCraft 2 winning tournament run in game time. Has anyone looked at that any of you know of? Was this the first time the previous winner declined to swap players for round of 16? What TV shows are everyone watching recently? So declining a swap, I believe, has happened before. As far as the fastest StarCraft 2 winning tournament run, you'd have to compare different types of tournaments and formats and game numbers. I feel like I recall Nesty winning a GSL, losing only one map, so he would have done the fewest maps to win. I don't know about game time, though. That's interesting.
That would be an interesting stat, though, yeah. I was thinking, what was the quickest ever StarCraft 2 game on a professional level? And I have a feeling it was Maru versus Zest. And Maru's proxy in base got scouted, and he just left. And it was like 45 seconds.
Yeah, that would be pretty quick.
But what if you have a tournament, but it's like 8 players, and they play?
Yeah, exactly. Right. You'd have to compare them and be like, okay, what's the format, because that'll adjust how you use strategies as well, right?
And maybe average time per game played is a
yeah. Okay. No one's ever looked at it, but maybe somebody will since you asked the question. What TV shows are everyone watching? Do you guys watch TV? What are you looking at right now?
The favorite things I watched recently were I watched Avatar for the first time, Last Airbender. That was really good.
Okay. Yeah, my wife really likes that one. She didn't want me to watch that.
It's good. It's funny.
All right.
It's the best Canadian anime.
It's Canadian?
It is.
No wonder she likes it. She's Canadian.
I don't know. Do I watch TV shows? I can't remember.
I think you do, actually. I follow you on Twitter. I'm pretty sure you watch things.
No, I don't think I do. Recently, I've been watching the MCU films. I've been going back and watching them all. So
What's MCU?
Marvel, the Marvel films.
Oh, okay.
Apart from
Grant,
that,
what have
I
you
don't know.
been?
I honestly mostly watch YouTube, especially now that I still don't know what I'm doing on YouTube, so I do a lot of studying while watching, entertaining people. I have not watched much TV recently, and it's been very annoying.
Okay. Not the answers that I thought that I would hear from you guys. I'm like, I just finished The Boys new season. It's amazing. I love that show. So there you go. Thanks for the question, Oblivious. All right, couple more. Mishrock 109 asks, if you could have lunch with any Korean StarCraft pro gamer across all time, who would it be and why? Assume you could speak the same language. Any StarCraft pro gamer, who would you guys want to eat lunch with?
I feel like Jelizerg would know where all the best food is.
So,
I mean,
okay, we got a good answer. What else we have here?
I think one of my favorite Terran pros was Iris. He always seemed like a pretty chill guy too. So maybe him. I don't know.
Okay, good answer. Pro, what about you?
Yes, I would pick Rain.
Rain?
Rain's my favorite player of all time. So yeah,
I think I'd have lunch with Best. He's really nice. I've had beers with him before, and he's a cool guy, very friendly.
I love how Bess is always cheesing. He's always smiling. It's something.
Yeah.
I love that about him.
No, everyone just really likes Best. The thing is, he is so likable. Like I watched this period where Tasteless asked a bunch of Protoss pros if you could have their replay packs, right, to learn their strats and stuff, and everyone was like, they get it translated, and they'd be like, no. And Best was like, oh, sure, yeah, what's your email? And it was like, oh my god, he's so nice. All right, last question here. Gildolin asks, GGG, I heard you love... Oh, that's you. Okay, yeah. GGG. Grant, I heard you love co-op, and with Artosis as your idol, you're looking to break into shoutcasting. Is there any chance we could see you shoutcasting something with co-op versus anytime soon?
So that is obviously a very seated question from one of my patrons. Also, apparently you're my idol, so you know what? I'll take it.
All right.
So one thing I'm working on right now is I want to start a King of the Hill series that is inspired by Shoutcraft Kings. And before I do that, I need to make sure that I know how to run a King of the Hill series. So I'm just kind of running a casual for fun King of the Hill using the co-op mod, which basically brings the co-op commanders onto 1v1 maps. And the games are horrible objectively, but the whole point is making sure that I know how to run a tournament. So the answer is yes.
All right. Excellent. That does it for the Patreon questions. A big thanks to all of our Patreons. Really appreciate you guys for the questions. And a shout out to our God tier, Shane, for all of your gigantic support. And of course, our $100 tier, Astrofin, Jerry Wang, and Blinker. We appreciate you guys. It's a big deal that everyone supports the show and helps us to do awesome, fun episodes like this. So thanks so much. Yeah, this was a really fun episode, guys. Thank you so much for coming on and introducing all the viewers here to the world of speedrunning and what you do. Why don't you tell people where they can find more of you, check you out, follow you, check out your speedruns and everything you do. Probe, let's start with you. Where can people find more?
You can find me at probe_SC2 everywhere. Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram. I'm going to be an Instagram model one day. Just you wait. But yeah, just there. And I guess the main thing is I'm trying to do challenge videos on my YouTube, which I'd like you guys to all check out. Yeah.
What's challenge videos?
Like the 2 games of StarCraft at once.
Oh, gotcha.
Blindfolded. I've got some more ideas, but if anybody has any videos as well, I'm down. Or any ideas, yeah.
All right. And Grant, how about you? Where can people find more of you?
Anywhere that says Giant Grant Games. The best two places to find me are on my YouTube channel, Giant Grant Games, where I do deathless videos going through various campaigns without losing a unit. I do speedrun stuff, including a Nova Covert Ops world record speedrun video that got released about 5 minutes before this went live.
Oh,
And
excellent.
definitely marketing there. And then every day, besides Tuesdays, I stream on twitch.tv/giantgrantgames for at least 3 hours. If you would like to see me get the Heart of the Swarm world record back from Probe, then check me out this Friday.
All right. Awesome. And Zosi, how about you? Where can people find more of you and check you out?
So Twitch would be Zosti. YouTube, it's also Zosti. I'm also on Bandcamp, zost.bandcamp. And I run a sort of VGM radio on Twitch too. It's SGQF on Twitch. That's just more of a fun thing I do. I don't make any money off of it or anything, but those are all my projects.
Great. Okay. So this has been a lot of fun, guys. Thank you so much for coming on. A really cool episode. Thanks everyone for watching. We're gonna go to a quick little break, and then I will be back with This Week in Starcraft real quick. But thanks, guys. Yeah, we'll talk to you later. Cheers.
Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
you guys for sticking around. It's time for This Week in StarCraft. Had a great show about speedruns just a moment ago. If you missed it, then you're missing out. Definitely check out the VOD. But it is time for This Week in StarCraft. Anything I mention, of course, you can check within our show notes. They are linked everywhere that you check out the Pylon show. Let's go ahead and jump down to page number 3. Some of the upcoming events that we're going to be talking about: ESL Cups, ASL Season 10, GSL Season 3, and StarCraft 2 Masters for DreamHack 2020 Winter. Going onwards, we have a list of the ESL Open Cups that you can sign up for. You can see a big difference in the points being given out. You know, a lot of people were talking about, oh, are these points going to end up making a difference? And our very own Alessandro that puts these together informed me that if you look a little bit further down in the rankings, these points, like the difference between rankings, are separated by just a few. So these tournaments, pretty darn important. Do check them out. Do play in them. All right, ESL Cup Korea. We had Dark over Rogue in the finals, 3-2. Congratulations. In ESL Cup EU, it looks like Clem took down Seoul 3-1 in the finals there. Oh, Seoul defeated Hero Marine in the round of 4. That's like something I'm starting to look at. Like, where did Hero Marine die? Like, we look for Starkiller in the pizza tournament. He's just won so many. In ESL Cup NA, we had Solar over Max Packs in the finals, who, by the way, made the round of 4 over in the EU region. So Max Packs really popping up. Very exciting. Congrats to Solar for winning that NA Cup. We also have ASL Season 10. We had the brackets drawn, guys. It is some exciting stuff. Flash is going to go up against the last Terran remaining in the tournament with his random. We have Soma versus Snow, Larva versus Sulky, and Zero versus Best. It is a ridiculous season. Definitely make sure you check it out. It will be back on day of the week. This Thursday, Sunday, Saturday for many of you. We have GSL Season 3. Of course, we had the round of 8 begin last night, and TY took down DRG 3-0, and Stats took down Innovation, a reverse sweep 3-2. We also have on Saturday Armani versus Zest and Maru versus Trap. See who else makes in that very important round of 4. All right, DreamHack StarCraft 2 Masters 2020 winner Europe. Looks like 32 players in a round-robin format. Top 4 players of each group advance to the playoffs. $14,000 prize pool. And it's starting in just 6 days. Definitely keep your eye out for that. We'll be reporting on that a lot as it goes through, of course, as always. Also, we have the North American one as well. You can see a lot of the participants written down there. A little bit light on the Terran players this season. A lot of Protoss joining us there. Wow, a big prize pool as well, $38,000. That's going to be starting up in about 12 days. Definitely do check that out. We have the LATAM, which is starting in just 6 days as well. You see Kelger, Special, and Cham already up there. And again, these are all tournaments that we will be reporting on. We have the China one with all their seeds already there. We have the Taiwan, Hong Kong, Japan, and just going through all of these. We'll have a lot more news on this as it moves forward. It looks like, though, ESL and Z already started. You can see Probe, one of our guests from today's show, already seeded in. So see how that ends up going down for him. We have the Masters Korea. And it looks like, yeah, Innovation and DRG are already in the qualifying matches, since they did get in the 5th through 8th spot. They both lost last night, as I mentioned previously. This week in StarCraft, 2020 GTC Fall Split Champion. Golden Team League Championship in the 2020 Fall. It looks like Kaizi Gaming triumphs 5-4. Zoun is pronounced Zone, apparently. Wow, I had no idea about that. Thank you, Alessander. I've been seeing Zoun the whole time, and Taste has been saying like Shown or something like that. He won the playoffs MVP with his outstanding performance. Congratulations. You can check that out over on Wardy's channel. We have Olima League number 206. Dark took out Ragnarok 3-0. Take down that one. Congratulations. Don't forget to check out Holy Moly on Patreon because you can get those awesome replay packs. We also have OSC King of the Hill Weekly. Bly on the week until Max Packs came in at the last moment. You know, Max Packs is doing really well on tournaments. He's got to get one of his pictures out on the internet. Come on, Max Packs. The next one is happening in just a couple days, so you can check that out on Creighton's stream. We also have Sentimiento Latino. Eggs won this one over Paco Mike, 3-1 in the finals. The next one going to be playing in about 8 days. Battle of the Americas. Nina took down Sham in the finals. These two always seem to meet in the finals over there, but this one goes to Nina in number 33, so congratulations to her. La Espera Desafiantes, Winter 2020. Third edition of Desafiantes will happen this upcoming Tuesday, October 20th, inviting the 8 best performing Latin American players who didn't make it to DreamHack Masters. So that'll be over on Cranky Ducklings Twitch channel. The Audai Weekly took place. Ranger took down B-Stork in the finals 3-2. Congratulations to him. Legacy Weekly Japan. We had Psyark win once again, this time over Vice Ravana 2-0. Congratulations to Psyark for another victory there. Golden Team League Championship 2020 Fall All-Stars. Dream ended up taking out Solar in the finals 4-2 and takes down quite a stacked tournament. Congrats to him. Solar actually took down Cure in the previous round. So really, really stacked tournament there. Big win for Dream. We also have the Ladder Heroes NA. Cham is going to take that one down. Mi Omega actually second on the ladder. Pure Legacy, Pili Pili Nina round out your top 5. Congrats there. You can check that out over on Fear Dragon's website. We also have the SCV Rush Open. Lilikanen took it down 3-2 over D-Dan in the finals. It's over on the SCV Rush 1 Twitch channel. We have the CSO Cup. Christianer over at Trifax 2-0 in the finals of number 6. Number 7 going to be taking place in just 2 days. The CSO Challenger happened as well with Super Square 04 defeating One Floppy 2-1. And registration are still open. Open to players 3,300 MMR to GM. We also have the Sugar 2v2 Cup. Practice X and Ghostly Swarm took down Prince and Wade 3-2 in number 8. Very regular 2v2 tournament. Seeing a lot of the same names pop up over and over, especially Prince making it far. Definitely check that out over on, I believe, Sugar's channel. All right, we also have AfreecaTv European League 2020. Showtime defeated Soul 3-1. Clem defeated a Laser 3-1. And Soul advanced 3-2 over a Laser. So it looks like we are getting to the very end of this. Showtime, Clem, and Soul left over. The Exxon Cup number 13 Special won 3-1 over Vanya in the finals. Looks like Nina ended up getting 3rd place, so congrats to all involved. We also have Shirshadi Open. Spats SC 3-1 over CSC Ashbringer in number 35 over on Shirshadi's Twitch. King of Battles International Championship. Kind of an exciting tournament with a huge prize pool of $30,000. Did finish up, and it became King of Battles TVT with Care vs. TY and Clem vs. Maru in that round of 4. Maru ended up defeating Cure in the grand finals 4-1, taking home the lion's share of that prize pool. Congrats to Maru once again. Really outstanding performance. All right, we have Amantes de Starcraft 2. And this time, this is for Brazilian players, but the Zerg Lord took down Perhawk 3-0 in the finals. Congrats to him. We also have UA Expert Tournament. Round of 16 played Saturday on October 17th. This tournament is sponsored by the UA School of Spanish College. It's a 32-player event with players mostly from Latin America and Spain. So a lot of the great players in those regions playing for that €1,000 prize pool. All right, we have Alpha X Series 25. Solar defeated Dream. You got the revenge from that other tournament, 5-3. Yeah, so check that out over on the Alpha X Trovo Live channel. Alpha X Pro Series. We had show match number 210. Ragnarok 5-2 over time at the end of the day. Congrats to him. We also have Demi C Weekly. And this is open to anyone in the Southeast Asian / Australia region. Pez ended up taking it down over Scyther 3-1 in the finals. Looks like Azure took down Upley in the bronze match. We also have the Cascadia Cup Weekly, presented by some drunk Canadian. He's been making a ton of tournaments lately. Ryuichi, 4-1 over Toss and Salads, takes down that $35. We also have the Pizza Pie Bi-Weekly. We are raising the prize pool to $80 and a pizza. This is getting serious. You'll probably spend that $80 on pizza anyways, right? Plays on October 18th. Go sign up. You can be the next star killer. All right, Mapper's Delight number 3. This is something made by Creighton. We're just kind of showing off the creativity and ingenuity of the StarCraft 2 map making scene. They are going to be using winning maps from MCMC2 and MCMC3. An additional map, Hellgates. So check this out over on Creighton's channel if you want to play or watch, of course. We have the Alpha X Junior Championship Season 10. It's going to be getting on October 17th. Of course, this is for players that are 15 years old or younger. Our seeds from the previous season: Eric Fire, Exo Striker, Baby Marine, and Ghosty. Some really exciting stuff seeing these players come up. Definitely check that out on the Alpha X one. The Singapore StarCraft 2 Online 2vs2 number 1. Currently signed up. They have Justice Simon and Upley, DLS Mizzle Paul, Nasifo Lamak, Young Neo and Marauder, Leo Rev. A lot of people signing up for it. $100 prize pool if you want to play some 2vs2 and you're in the region. Go check that out. We also have No Gamer Left Behind tournament number 3. It's on Able Gamers, and it's going to start in January. So celebrity players choose a handicap to play with. There'll be a cash prize as well. So raising funds for a noble cause. You can check that out. I guess we'll probably report on that a lot in the coming months since it's not till January. All right, this week in Brood War, we have the BSL Season 10. It looks like DeWalt and Koget topped their group, and Oya and Siki ended up topping their group, with Oya actually winning that one. Very nice. All right, so that continues to move forward. You can check out the BSL over on Zero's Twitch channel. We also have Foul Play NA, the Rogues Gallery. We talked about this last week, but it looks like Red Duck did end up taking a map off Hawk, so very nicely done from him. But Hawk, of course, ends up taking it down. You can check that out on twitch.tv/Rogues Gallery Brood War, or BW rather. All right, we also have Brood War G's Weekly, which Russ Brain always puts together. Looks like Spire, the Korean Zerg, takes down Perfume, the Korean Protoss. Eon, Zerg, and True Touch both able to make it to the round of 4, but not any further there when up against the Koreans. So congrats to Spire for taking that down. So have the Ultimate Battle event. And Light went 7-2 against Zero. What the hell? That is insane. That's his 4th King of the Hill win in a row. That is a gigantic map score for Light. So congrats to him, just really killing it. Unfortunately, he's already out of ASL and Zero's still in, so that's where it really matters, right? All right, moving forward, the Rookie Star League. It looks like Jonah defeated Fanta 3-2, and Slow Zerg defeated Maverick 3-1. If you are a very new Brood War player, this has a cap of 1350 MMR, which is like, believe me, if you haven't played Brood War, you can go play in this tournament and have some fun. So do check it out. TDR Nation Wars 2. Week 8. We have Canada 5-1 over Chile, Bolivia 4-3 over USA, Europe 4-2 over Germany, and Russia 4-3 over Sweden. It looks like they've gotten $1,200 in donations from Matcherino. So very awesome. Check it out over on their channel. All right. Russian Cyber Cup 2020. The RCG. This is kind of like the spiritual successor to WCG, as players from all sorts of regions. They keep moving the dates because it is kind of difficult with the coronavirus and everything. We will update you when we get the exact information on when and where. It says right now an offline environment in Russia, December 5th through 6th. So hopefully that'll occur. It was a great event. I got to represent America last year in it. Really, really awesome. Hopefully they can get it live, but I guess we'll see with the world's condition at that time. All right. That does it for your week in StarCraft. Big thanks to Alessandro for putting that together. And thank you everyone for watching the Pylon show. We'll be back next week. Same time, same place. And yeah, I guess that's it. We'll see you then. Thanks for watching. Big cheers to the entire staff of the Pylon show. See you later.
All right.